You think your brain is your loyal guide, your ultimate truth teller. Think again. Your brain. It's a master deceiver, a silent betrayer, whispering cunning lies that warp your entire reality. Welcome to the dissection table. I'm here to rip apart those cozy illusions, to expose the uncomfortable truths your brain works so hard to hide. Today, we're going to uncover 8 devious tricks your own mind plays on you, making you believe the most absurd things. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew, because these aren't just fascinating facts. These are the shocking secrets your brain definitely doesn't want you to learn. Prepare to see the true face of truth. Let's start with something you look at every single day, your own reflection, because even that is probably lying to you. You glance in the mirror, perhaps fixing your hair, admiring an outfit, or just checking your reflection before stepping out. You likely nod in approval, thinking, yeah, that's me, that's exactly how I look, and honestly, I look pretty good today. It's a comfortable, familiar image, one you've observed literally thousands upon thousands of times throughout your life. But here's the first silent deception your brain masterfully crafts: the face you behold in that mirror. That is not the face the rest of the world sees. Your brain, it turns out, is deeply, almost pathologically, enamored with familiarity. It finds comfort and even aesthetic appeal in patterns it knows well. The image reflected back at you is laterally inverted. It's your face, flipped horizontally. This is the version your brain has imprinted as the real you, the default setting for your self-perception. When you see an unfiltered photograph, however, you're looking at the version of yourself that everyone else perceives, the objectively accurate, unflipped image, and for many, that sight can be jarring, even unsettling. Is that really how I look? You might wonder, a flicker of discomfort, or even outright disbelief, crossing your mind. This isn't mere vanity speaking, it's a profound cognitive bias known as the familiarity effect at play. Scientists, with work echoing findings from institutions like MIT on visual perception, confirm that our brains have a deep-seated preference for what is familiar. The mirror image is your brain's beloved comfort zone, the version it has been diligently trained over a lifetime to view as the correct and often the more attractive one. Your brain, in essence, is a superb artist, meticulously painting the flattering portrait you want to see, rather than the unvarnished, objective truth. It's creating an illusion of self, a slightly skewed reality designed specifically for your internal comfort, rather than exposing the exact image that others encounter. So, every morning, your supposedly loyal guide, your brain, begins its day by subtly betraying your perception of your own identity. And if you think your own reflection is your brain's most harmless lie, wait until you learn what your mind does with the objective stories it tells itself about success and failure. You scroll through your feed, bombarded by headlines screaming about billion-dollar unicorn startups, Instagram influencers flaunting their lavish lives, or self-made gurus promising overnight riches. Silicon Valley, it seems, is a glittering land of endless opportunity, a place where dreams are not just born but guaranteed to flourish. We are constantly shown the triumphant few who made it to the summit, their stories amplified, celebrated, and held up as blueprints for success. But here's the second brutal truth your brain keeps hidden. Silicon Valley is also a graveyard, a silent monument to millions of failed dreams, overlooked and forgotten, and your brain is expertly steering you away from seeing it. This is the insidious work of survivorship bias, a cognitive trap that makes us focus exclusively on the things that survived the process, while completely ignoring those that didn't. Think back to World War II, war. Statisticians were tasked with figuring out where to add armor to planes returning from combat. Intuitively, they looked at the bullet holes on the surviving planes and wanted to reinforce those areas. But a brilliant statistician, Abraham Wald, pointed out the fatal flaw in that logic. The planes they were studying were the ones that made it back. The true weak spots weren't where the bullet holes were. They were in the areas that, if hit, caused the planes to not return at all. His insight revolutionized how we think about data and survival. Today, this ancient bias manifests in modern, devastating ways. We idolize the tech titans, the viral content creators, the stock market winners, without ever truly acknowledging the vast ocean of hopefuls who poured their life savings into a startup that crashed and burned, the aspiring influencers whose content vanished into the digital void, or the investors who lost everything chasing the next big fad. Your brain, with its relentless desire for clear narratives and inspiring examples, filters out the overwhelming majority of failures. It paints a distorted reality where success seems far more attainable and less risky than it actually is. This isn't just an interesting psychological quirk, it's a massive deception, coercing entire generations into pursuing futile races, mesmerized by the peak while remaining oblivious to the abyss of countless others. It convinces you that if you just follow the path of the survivors, you too will succeed, blindly ignoring the insurmountable odds stacked against you. Your brain, once again, isn't showing you the whole picture, it's showing you the highlight reel and charging you full price for the ticket. And if you thought your brain was merely a selective editor, curating highlight reels of success while erasing the failures, then brace yourself, because it's also a master architect, meticulously building impenetrable echo chambers around your every thought. Have you ever wondered why arguments on social media feel so utterly pointless? Why people cling to their beliefs with an almost religious fervor, even when confronted with overwhelming evidence? The answer lies in the third brutal truth. Your brain absolutely adores social media fake news because it feeds its favorite habit. This is the cunning deception of confirmation bias. Your brain isn't just passively consuming information, it's an active hunter, tirelessly searching for data, opinions, and headlines that reaffirm what you already believe. It's not interested in challenging your perspectives, it's dedicated to validating them. Think of it like only subscribing to news channels that parrot your existing political views, or scrolling past every comment on social media that contradicts your favorite influencer. Your brain, in essence, is your most ardent fanboy or fangirl, only showing you what supports your team and dismissing everything else as irrelevant, misguided, or simply fake. This isn't just a quirky psychological glitch, it's a force tearing at the fabric of modern society. It's what fuels the relentless spread of misinformation, deepens political polarization, and transforms online debates into endless, futile keyboard wars. Your brain, in its twisted effort to maintain your internal consistency, systematically walls you off from dissenting viewpoints, making you immune to facts that don't fit your pre-existing narrative. It makes you believe the most irrational things, fiercely rejecting any piece of evidence that might threaten your comfortable worldview. This bias doesn't just distort your personal reality, it weaponizes your beliefs, turning them into unshakable fortresses against truth itself. And if you thought your brain was merely a selective editor, curating highlight reels of success while erasing the failures, then brace yourself, because it's also a master architect, meticulously building impenetrable echo chambers around your every thought. Have you ever wondered why arguments on social media feel so utterly pointless? Why people cling to their beliefs with an almost religious fervor, even when confronted with overwhelming evidence? The answer lies in the third, brutal truth. Your brain absolutely adores social media fake news because it feeds its favorite habit. This is the cunning deception of confirmation bias. Your brain isn't just passively consuming information, it's an active hunter, tirelessly searching for data, opinions, and headlines that reaffirm what you already believe. It's not interested in challenging your perspectives, it's dedicated to validating them. Think of it like only subscribing to news channels that parrot your existing political views, or scrolling past every comment on social media that contradicts your favorite influencer. Your brain, in essence, is your most ardent fanboy or fangirl, only showing you what supports your team and dismissing everything else as irrelevant, misguided, or simply fake. This isn't just a quirky psychological glitch, it's a force tearing at the fabric of modern society. It's what fuels the relentless spread of misinformation, deepens political polarization, and transforms online debates into endless, futile keyboard wars. Your brain, in its twisted effort to maintain your internal consistency, systematically walls you off from dissenting viewpoints, making you immune to facts that don't fit your pre-existing narrative. It makes you believe the most irrational things, fiercely rejecting any piece of evidence that might threaten your comfortable worldview. This bias doesn't just distort your personal reality, it weaponizes your beliefs, turning them into unshakable fortresses against truth itself. And speaking of building fortresses against truth, have you ever noticed how your brain creates an entirely different kind of barrier? Not against ideas, but against reality itself, especially when it comes to danger. Have you ever wondered why, after seeing a news report about a rare, dramatic event, the world suddenly seems to be full of that one specific threat? Your brain, it turns out, isn't just a biased editor, it's a sensationalist journalist, always prioritizing the flashiest headlines. Have you ever braced yourself for a turbulent flight, clutching your armrests, despite knowing, deep down, that you're statistically far safer soaring through the clouds than driving to the airport? This is the truth, Monsieur Four. Airplanes are objectively safer than cars, yet your brain fiercely rejects this reality. It's a cruel joke orchestrated by what psychologists call the availability heuristic. This isn't just a quirky phobia, it's your brain's cunning strategy to simplify the world. When asked to estimate the likelihood of an event, your brain doesn't consult a database of cold, hard statistics. Instead, it takes a shortcut. It retrieves information that comes to mind most easily or most vividly. A plane crash with its dramatic imagery, chilling headlines, and widespread media coverage etches itself into your memory. It's a spectacle, a tragedy that dominates news cycles for days. Car accidents, on the other hand, while infinitely more common and deadly, are often just local news filler, background noise in the constant hum of daily life. They rarely carry the same emotional punch or widespread visibility. Consider this stark contrast. Your lifetime odds of dying in a car crash are roughly 1 in 100. For a plane crash, that number plummets to a staggering 1 in 11 million. You are literally thousands of times more likely to perish in a car accident than on a commercial flight. Yet, which one sends a shiver down your spine? Which one generates widespread panic and fear? Your brain, a true master of illusion, prioritizes the memorable spectacle over the mundane but lethal reality. This isn't just about personal anxiety, it's a profound betrayal that manipulates our perception of risk, leading to irrational fears and even misguided policy decisions. Our brain is constantly being fed a diet of sensationalized stories, vivid images, and readily available anecdotes by the media and even social platforms. This constant bombardment warps our internal risk calculator, making us believe rare events are commonplace and common dangers are insignificant. It leads us to spend vast resources addressing highly visible but statistically rare threats while neglecting pervasive yet less dramatic risks. Your brain, in its twisted attempt to protect you from what it thinks is dangerous, often steers you directly into the path of actual harm, all while whispering comforting lies about your safety in the everyday. If your brain can distort reality to make a plane crash seem more likely than a car accident, imagine what audacious illusions it spins about your own capabilities. This brings us to the truth, Mom 5. The more ignorant you are, the more confident your brain wants you to be. Remember MacArthur Wheeler. You should. In 1995, this man decided to rob 2 Pittsburgh banks in broad daylight without a mask. His ingenious secret weapon, lemon juice. He genuinely believed that if he rubbed lemon juice on his face, he would become invisible to security cameras, just like it makes invisible ink appear. He was caught, of course, utterly dumbfounded that his brilliant plan failed. He couldn't comprehend how the cameras had seen him. This isn't a joke, though it feels like one. This man, whose sheer incompetence was breathtaking, genuinely thought he was a criminal mastermind. His story captivated 2 Cornell University psychologists, David Dunning and Justin Kruger. What they discovered, they named the Dunning-Kruger Effect. People with low ability in a certain area tend to vastly overestimate their competence. Your brain, in its twisted desire to make you feel good about yourself, actively sabotages your ability to self-assess accurately. When you lack knowledge or skill, you also lack the metacognitive ability, the skill to recognize your own lack of skill. You simply don't know enough to even know you don't know. It's a cruel irony. The very ignorance that makes you perform poorly also blinds you to that poor performance. Genuine confidence, you see, is a privilege your brain often reserves for those who, quite frankly, haven't learned enough to realize how much they don't know. It's why the loudest voices in any room are often the least informed, utterly convinced of their own infallible wisdom. This isn't just a funny anecdote or a frustrating online argument. This is a societal plague, a catastrophic flaw in the very architecture of human decision-making. This bias explains why unqualified individuals confidently climb corporate ladders, making critical decisions that cripple innovation and collapse systems. It's why incompetent leaders, utterly blind to their own limitations, are elected and remain in power, convinced of their own genius while driving entire nations toward disaster. The Dunning-Kruger Effect is the silent saboteur of progress, creating an insidious culture where genuine expertise is often drowned out by the boisterous, unfounded self-assurance of the utterly clueless. Your brain isn't just lying to you about your own abilities, it's actively promoting ineptitude and burying genuine talent under a mountain of misplaced confidence. If your brain can construct an entire false reality about your own competence, imagine how expertly it weaves narratives to make sense of a world that often makes no sense at all. Have you ever looked at a complex stock market chart, full of chaotic ups and downs, and seen an analyst on TV confidently explain why it did what it did? The market surged today due to positive consumer confidence, but retracted slightly on inflation fears. It sounds plausible, doesn't it? As if every tick on that graph was a deliberate chapter in a carefully plotted story. But what if I told you that, more often than not, your brain is the one writing that story, projecting meaning onto pure randomness? This is the truth. Number 6. The stock market, or a grand fairy tale your brain, a master storyteller, craves narratives, not raw data. Our minds recoil from chaos. They recoil from true randomness. Faced with a series of disconnected events, a stock goes up, then down. A politician says X, then Y. A historical event happens here, then there. Our primitive, pattern-seeking brains immediately leap to connect the dots, to weave a coherent, satisfying plotline. We construct cause and effect relationships where none exist, find hidden meanings, and transform a jumble of facts into an easily digestible story. This isn't necessarily about understanding, it's about simplifying, about making the world feel predictable and controllable, even when it isn't. Your brain, the masterful director of your inner universe, is constantly turning disconnected snippets into a blockbuster film, with a clear beginning, middle, and end, whether the original footage deserved it or not. And this isn't just some harmless quirk you tell yourself about your day. This insatiable hunger for narrative is a silent saboteur, manipulating not just your perception of history, but the very fabric of your financial and political decisions. It's why we often vote for charismatic leaders who tell a compelling story about the future, rather than diligently evaluating their policies based on cold, hard facts. It's why market analysts, after the fact, can concoct elaborate explanations for why a stock soared or plummeted, making it seem inevitable and predictable, when in reality, it was often the result of complex, unpredictable forces. This illusion of retrospectively understanding chaotic events breeds overconfidence, leading investors to make risky bets based on patterns that never truly existed. It allows demagogues to craft seductive truths that resonate emotionally, overriding any logical dissent. This is how leaders and media create collective lies to steer public opinion, not with facts, but with irresistible tales. And if you thought your brain only lied to you with grand, fabricated stories, then prepare to witness how it traps you in an even deeper abyss, the black hole of what's already lost. Have you ever found yourself enduring a truly terrible movie on Netflix, hours slipping by, even though every fiber of your being screams for you to turn it off? Or perhaps you've clung to a relationship long past its expiration date, pouring in more time and emotional energy, despite all signs pointing to its toxicity. What about that outdated business project, consuming resources and manpower, clearly destined for failure, yet your team just won't pull the plug? We've already invested so much. Someone always says, this, my friends, is the truth, and number 7, don't bother anymore. Your brain is making you burn money uselessly. It's called the Sunk Cost Fallacy, and it's your brain's cunning way of holding you hostage to the past. Our logical minds would tell us to evaluate decisions based solely on the future potential and current circumstances. But your brain, a master manipulator, whispers a different tune. You've already put in so much effort, so much money, so much time. Don't let it all go to waste now. It tricks you into believing that because you've invested something in the past, you must continue to invest, even when doing so is clearly against your best interest. The value you've already spent, the sunk cost, has no bearing on the future outcome. Yet your brain makes it feel like it does. It turns what should be irrelevant history into a powerful, compelling reason to stay the course, even if that course is leading you straight to disaster. This isn't just a quirky personal habit, it's a profound betrayal that paralyzes progress and fuels self-sabotage. This is the very trap that causes companies to continue pouring billions into obsolete technology projects that have no future, simply because a monumental investment has already been made. It's what drives nations to prolong senseless, unwinnable wars, justifying continued casualties and expenditures by citing the sacrifices already made. And on a more personal level, it's what keeps countless individuals locked in toxic jobs, doomed relationships, or failing ventures, unable to cut their losses and move on, all because their sophisticated jailer of a brain convinces them that giving up now would make all past efforts meaningless. But meaning isn't found in relentless self-destruction. It's found in the courage to acknowledge a loss and pivot towards a future that actually serves you. Your brain, in its twisted logic, is often the greatest obstacle to that courage. And if you thought your brain was only a master of self-deception, trapping you in the past, then prepare to see how it distorts your very perception of others, making snap judgments based on the flimsiest of evidence. Have you ever found yourself thinking, "She's so articulate and well-dressed, she must be incredibly competent," even before hearing a single word about her actual qualifications? Or perhaps you've dismissed someone as untrustworthy or unintelligent simply because of a single off-putting mannerism or an unkempt appearance. This, my friends, is the truth. She's beautiful, so she must be smart. Your brain absolutely thinks so. This is the halo effect in action, and it's one of your brain's most insidious shortcuts, where a single prominent positive or negative trait casts a glow, a halo, over all other aspects of a person or object, making you perceive them as universally good or bad. Your brain, that impressionable audience, often gets captivated by a charming ghost, and from that single initial impression paints an entire, often completely inaccurate, picture. Instead of objectively assessing each individual characteristic, your brain takes the path of least resistance. If someone is physically attractive, your brain might unconsciously assume they are also more intelligent, kinder, or more successful. If a product looks sleek and expensive, you might automatically believe it's higher quality, even if it performs identically to a cheaper, less aesthetically pleasing alternative. It's a cognitive bias where one strong trait overrides rational judgment, shaping your entire perception. This isn't just a harmless personal quirk. It's a profound act of betrayal that warps our social interactions and fuels systemic injustices. This hidden force causes significant bias in hiring, where charismatic but less qualified candidates might be favored over equally or more skilled but less outwardly charming applicants. It's why celebrity endorsements in advertising are so potent. The halo of fame and desirability transfers directly to the product, convincing you it's superior. And in even more concerning scenarios, it can subtly influence court decisions, where an attractive defendant might unconsciously be perceived as less guilty, or a well-spoken witness more credible, regardless of the objective facts. Your brain, in its eagerness to create a coherent narrative from limited data, often sacrifices truth and fairness for the sake of a neatly packaged, but utterly misleading, impression. If your brain is so adept at creating these neatly packaged, yet utterly misleading, impressions about others, what lies does it spin about your own power and influence? Consider all the little rituals we cling to, knocking on wood, clutching that faded lucky shirt before a big presentation, or performing a specific sequence of button presses before a video game boss. We all do it, don't we? This isn't just quirkiness. This is the truth number 9, your lucky charm, just your brain's little joke. Your brain of that tiny dictator or desperately wants to be in charge, even when it's just spinning wind-powered wheels. This is the illusion of control, the sneaky tendency to believe we can influence or control events that are actually purely random or entirely beyond our power. It's a comforting lie, a mental security blanket that tells us we have agency in a chaotic world, even when we truly don't. Psychologists have dissected this illusion in numerous experiments, revealing its insidious grip. In one classic study, participants who were allowed to choose their own lottery tickets felt significantly more confident about winning than those who were given tickets randomly. Their subjective feeling of control, even over a game of pure chance, was palpable. Another famous example involves rolling dice. People tend to roll dice more softly when they need a low number and harder when they need a high number, as if the force of their throw could somehow dictate the outcome. Your brain is a masterful storyteller, weaving a narrative where your actions directly impact random outcomes, regardless of objective reality. This isn't a harmless personal quirk, it's a profound act of betrayal that shapes significant decisions and leads to catastrophic outcomes. This very illusion fuels irrational gambling, where individuals continue to throw money away, convinced their strategy or luck will eventually turn the tide, despite overwhelming odds. It leads people to reject crucial safety measures, believing they are in control enough to avoid accidents, whether it's not wearing a seatbelt or ignoring health warnings. On a grander scale, it can steer political decisions, where leaders make choices based on a grandiose belief in their ability to manipulate complex systems or will outcomes, rather than relying on data and evidence. Your brain, in its relentless pursuit of a sense of agency, often blinds you to true randomness and external forces, setting you up for disappointment, risk, and even disaster. And as we pull back from the abyss of that self-deception, from the endless loops of disappointment, risk, and even disaster your brain constructs, we're left with a stark, undeniable reality. Your brain, this marvel of evolution, is also a master illusionist. It's a silent conspirator, whispering sweet nothings and crafting elaborate lies, not to harm you, but to simplify a chaotic world, to boost your ego, and often to lead you far astray from objective truth. We've just peeled back the layers on 9 of these insidious deceits, from the face you see in the mirror to the comforting myth of your lucky charm. But here's the electrifying truth: recognizing these silent lies, these deep-seated biases and fallacies isn't about condemnation, it's about liberation. It's the first cut in the grand dissection of reality, the moment you begin to reclaim ownership of your thoughts. Understanding these pervasive deceptions is your superpower, arming you with the critical lens to see beyond the curated narratives, the convenient fictions, and the comforting illusions your mind relentlessly spins. It's a brutal honesty, yes, but it's the only path to genuine clarity. This isn't just a collection of quirky mental shortcuts. It's a profound blueprint of your mind's deepest betrayals. And now, armed with this unvarnished insight, you have a choice. Will you continue to be a pawn in your own mind's elaborate game, letting it dictate your perceptions and decisions, or will you seize the reins, demanding accountability from the very organ that defines your reality? Don't let your brain trick you into believing you'll remember to seek out more profound truths later. That's just another one of its illusions. Break free from that passive cycle right now. If you're truly ready to relentlessly dissect the truths that shape our existence and unlock the full, unfiltered potential of your mind, then join our growing legion of truth seekers. Press that subscribe button. Be the master of your mind, not its unwitting victim. Until our next profound revelation, continue to question everything, and I'll see you in the world of exposed secrets.